Heirloom dark secret. Millionaire sees his fiancée's true colors. Life changes forever at 3 a.m. The clock struck 3. Midnight shadows loomed across the lavish penthouse, and the air was thick with a tension that made the hairs on the back of Evan's neck stand up. Everything was supposed to be perfect. He was a millionaire. He had the beautiful fiancée, the glitzy parties, and a life most could only dream of. But tonight, under the stark light of the moon, something felt off. He felt it in his gut, a primal warning. Evan stood alone, restless, as he glanced at the flickering light of a downstairs window. His heart raced. It was Jenna, his fiancée, whispering sweet nothings to her phone. The hushed tones sent chills up his spine. Why was she up at this hour? Why was she smiling so slyly? Her laughter rang out, soft yet off-key, like a haunting melody echoing through the cavernous void of their home. It cut through the stillness like a knife, and his stomach churned, a heavy lump forming in his throat. His phone buzzed suddenly, jolting him from his thoughts. A message from his late father's lawyer. "Meet me." It felt like an avalanche of cryptic dread clobbered him. This was all too much. What could his father's lawyer possibly want at 3 in the morning? It had to be important. But the sting of betrayal gnawed at his edges, emotions clashing violently against his reason. Who could he trust? Jenna's laughter echoed through his mind again, weaving in and out like a demon's chant. What colors was he really seeing tonight? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Suddenly, without warning, Jenna appeared at the top of the stairs. Her silhouette framed by pale light, she looked striking, but her eyes glimmered with something Evan had never seen before, a dangerous allure, a hidden purpose. "Evan," she called softly, her voice smooth yet laced with an unsettling charm. The way she said his name made the air feel as if it were razor sharp. The hairs on his arms stood tall. What was happening? He felt his heart thudding. The facade of their perfect relationship felt brittle, like glass ready to shatter at the slightest touch. And then, out of nowhere, Jenna made a move that shifted everything. She took a step closer, locking eyes with him, and the silence grew heavy. "I see you, Evan," she whispered, but it wasn't her voice that rattled him. It was the look on her face, a blend of joy and malice. The world around him faded, leaving just the two of them suspended in this surreal moment filled with unspeakable tension. What was lurking beneath the surface of her charming smile? What secrets had she hidden away, waiting to be unveiled? Evan's breath quickened. The shadows of his life were about to consume him whole. The clock ticked ominously, marking the countdown to a revelation. Would he dare find out what Jenna's true colors were? The answer was somewhere in those unread messages and in the depths of her piercing gaze. The moment hung in the air, electric and heavy, as Evan tried to decipher the cryptic depths of Jenna's gaze. What did she mean by "I see you"? His mind raced, frantically recalling the surface of their relationship, warm smiles, shared dreams, and laughter that echoed through balmy summer nights. But suddenly those memories felt like a distant illusion, replaced by unease and suspicion. "Evan," she repeated, her voice softer now but still laced with an unnerving edge. The very way she held herself made his pulse quicken, like she was about to reveal some dark, twisted secret. "We need to talk. There's so much you don't know." Her words slithered inside him, sending a shiver down his spine. Was she aware of the message from his father's lawyer? Did it connect to whatever hidden truth she was alluding to? Anxiety knotted his stomach as he took a cautious step back, scrutiny etched across his face. "About what?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper, fear pinching his heart like a vice. "What's going on, Jenna?" She moved closer, exuding an intoxicating mix of confidence and mystery. You really think you know who I am? This life we've built? It's all a mirage, Evan. There was a hard edge to her tone now, like the hint of a storm brewing within her sweet demeanor. What do you mean? Panic surged through him like electricity. He glanced back down the stairs at the flickering light, his instincts screaming for him to run, to escape these heavy shadows that threatened to envelop him. You have to look deeper. The secrets your father kept, they're dangerous. People will do anything for power, even if it means lying to the ones they love. The uncertainty in her eyes was now mingled with something more intense, a burning resolve that sent a chill racing along his spine. What was she saying about his father? Why are you talking about my father? The words stumbled from his mouth, disoriented by disbelief. Just then, another vibration shot through his phone, a stark reminder of the summons he wanted to forget. Because it's all connected. You need to come with me. Her voice had shifted again, dripping with urgency. We need to leave now. At that moment, a door creaked in the distance, followed by the unsettling whisper of footsteps. The noise reverberated against his consciousness, pulling him from his internal battle with the confusion swirling in his mind. Instinctively, he turned toward the sound, his heart clenching. Was someone else in the house? Jenna's eyes darted to the darkness behind him, a look of panic crossing her features, quickly masked by her composed smile. Not now, Evan. They can't know we're here. Please, we don't have time. He felt the gravity of her words weighing down on him, but the knot in his gut tightened further. Who was she truly? And why did he feel as if she was both his savior and his executioner? As adrenaline spiked, he realized he had to choose a side. Jenna, I need more than this. Frustration shot through him, tightening his throat. Just tell me what's going on. Deepening shadows began to swirl around them, cloaking the room in a suffocating darkness that felt palpable. Jenna looked right into his eyes, a blend of desperation and determination. If you truly want the truth, you must confront the past. But it means trusting me, and that is no small feat. Before he could respond, the faint sound of a smooth, ominous voice echoed from the shadows below. I wouldn't advise that, Jenna. Trust is a dangerous thing, don't you think? A chill ran through Evan, quickening his heartbeat until it felt like thunder in his ears. What new treachery was unfolding in his life? With dread looming heavy over him, he realized the clock had just started counting down again, and the consequences could be fatal. So he took a step forward, the words binding on his lips, "Who are you?" Just as the shadows shifted, revealing a figure he never expected to see. What awaited them was just the beginning of a harrowing revelation that would shake the very foundations of his world. The figure stepped from the shadows, and Evan felt as if the air had been sucked out of the room. Recognition clawed at his mind, a swirling mix of disbelief and dread. Lucas, he breathed, his voice barely a whisper. Lucas, his estranged brother, the one person he thought he'd never see again. The weight of their complicated history hung heavy between them, draping the moment in tension. Surprised to see me? Lucas smirked, his tone sarcastic, yet dangerously calm. It's been a while. Family reunions and all. Jenna flinched, her eyes darting between the two men, the panic in her expression morphing into determination. This isn't the time for games, Lucas, she shot back, her voice steady. You know what I know, Lucas interrupted, his voice smooth like silk but edged with menace, is that secrets never stay buried for long. Evan's pulse raced, confusion swirling in his thoughts like a tornado. What secrets? What are you talking about? Secrets about your father, Lucas replied, stepping closer, shadows casting a dark veil over his features. Secrets he took to the grave, but they aren't dead. Not yet. Evan's stomach dropped. Why are you here? What do you want? A flicker of vulnerability crossed Lucas's face before he leaned in, his eyes glinting with something unsettling. What do I want? I want you to wake up, brother. Our father was no saint. He left a legacy filled with lies and betrayals. It's time you knew what you're really inheriting. Jenna's grip tightened on Evan's arm, her whispered urgency barely reaching his ears. Evan, we need to go. Now. Fear pierced through Evan as he looked between the two, his long-lost brother, and the woman he thought he could trust. Time seemed suspended, yet the ominous ticking of an unseen clock crept into the silence, amplifying his anxiety. Why should I trust you, Lucas? After everything? What do you have to lose? Lucas shot back, his voice slicing through the tension. You'll be a pawn in a game you don't even understand. I'm here to help you play it. Before Evan could respond, a loud crash echoed from somewhere else in the house. He felt the walls closing in, their safety evaporating like mist. What was that? He gasped, eyes darting toward the noise. Lucas's smirk faded, replaced by a serious glimmer in his eyes. Things are changing fast. People are coming for the truth, Evan. We don't have much time. Jenna nudged him, her voice tinged with panic. Follow me, Evan. He felt torn. Should he trust his brother, the man who had walked away from their family? Or Jenna, the woman who was now cloaked in shadows? The ground beneath him felt unstable, like a loose connection about to untangle. Evan took a deep breath. Let us find out the truth, together, he muttered through clenched teeth, feeling the severity of his choice as that decision poured into the room, heavy and charged. Just as they turned to leave, the ominous voice returned, deeper and filled with mockery. Oh, trust is such a fragile thing, isn't it? Too bad you'll never know who's really pulling the strings. The laughter echoed off the walls as Evan gripped Jenna's hand tightly, determination flooding his veins despite the looming threat. He didn't know where this path would lead them, but one thing was clear, the game was just beginning. As they dashed down the hallway, the sound of footsteps behind them surged, and a chilling thought clawed at the back of Evan's mind. What had they awakened? The shadows whispered promises of revelations, and he couldn't help but wonder, could the truth finally set him free, or would it chain him forever? Evan raced after Jenna, the sound of pounding footsteps close behind them, a relentless echo that filled him with dread. Emerging from the narrow hallway, they burst into the sprawling living room, its grandeur swallowed by the looming danger. The chandeliers hung like eerie specters above them, casting flickering shadows across the polished floor. Where do we go? Evan gasped, glancing back toward the hallway. Shadows danced along the edges, and he felt a sudden chill ripple down his spine. Through the kitchen, Jenna urged, her voice strained but forceful. We can get to the side door and slip out there. His heart raced. The side door felt like freedom, a chance to escape this spiral into darkness. They darted across the room, dodging the expensive furniture that suddenly felt like bars of a jail cell. As they reached the kitchen, Evan's thoughts spiraled back to Lucas. He didn't want to think about the weight of the secrets his brother had mentioned. Could he really trust him? Shouldn't family come before everything else? But right now, survival was all that mattered. The kitchen was dim, the only light coming from the street lamp outside, casting long shadows against the walls. Evan took a quick inventory. A knife block sat on the counter, its edges sharp and glinting. Nervously, he brushed his hand along the cool metal. Evan, hurry! Jenna's voice broke through his thoughts. She was already at the door, heart pounding, fists clenched tight against her sides. With a deep breath, he sprinted to her side, his heart thudding like a drum. I'm here! He swung the door open, the hinges creaking like the whispered warnings of the past. Just as they were about to step outside, a voice cut through the night like a knife. And where do you think you're going? It was Lucas, stepping into the kitchen, his expression a mix of amusement and hidden fury. The light poured over him, and even though there was mockery in his smile, there was something else lingering behind that mask, a deep-rooted sadness Evan recognized from their childhood. Get out of the way, Lucas! Jenna shouted, her voice trembling but fierce. You don't know what you're getting into. No, you don't know what you're running from. Lucas shot back, taking a step closer. You need to listen. This isn't just about family, Evan. It's bigger than that, potentially deadly. You have to understand. Evan's mind reeled as he faced his brother. What could possibly be so important that Lucas was willing to confront him now? Their father's legacy? What did that even mean? And why was his own brother putting himself on the line for the truth now? I'll decide for myself what I need to understand. Evan shouted back, his anger surging to the surface. Before Lucas could respond, a loud crash sounded from the living room, rattling the walls and causing a shower of dust to fall from overhead. The front door slammed open. Heavy footsteps thudded against the floor, followed by muffled voices. Panic rushed through Evan, and without thinking, he grabbed Jenna's hand, tugging her toward the door. We can't stay here. They're coming for us. Evan, wait! Lucas yelled, desperation creeping into his voice. Don't act rashly. They aren't just after you, they're after the truth. But Evan was already sprinting outside, adrenaline pumping through his veins. The night air hit him like a wall, cool and refreshing, but the danger still lingered. As they dashed down the driveway, Evan glanced back just in time to see Lucas standing in the doorway, an unreadable expression on his face. He pulled Jenna along, down the street, the fear propelling them forward. Questions swirled in his mind. What truth? What danger? And just how deeply tangled was his father's legacy in this nightmarish web? They rounded a corner, taking refuge in the shadows, breathless and scared. Jenna leaned against a lamppost, eyes wide with uncertainty. What now? Evan swallowed hard, fear coiling tight in his chest. We don't stop moving. They'll follow. We have to find out what Lucas was talking about. We need answers. And we need them before they find us. Just then, a blaring horn echoed down the street. A dark car pulled up, its headlights cutting through the night like twin daggers. The figure inside was unmistakable, a face Evan never expected to see again. Get in! The stranger shouted. Evan hesitated, a storm of emotion swirling within him. Could this be a trap? Or their only chance to uncover the truth? His heart raced as he locked eyes with Jenna, her fear mirroring his own. Are you going to trust me? He asked, uncertainty etched across his face. Jenna held his gaze. Whatever happens, we face it together. As the car's engine roared, Evan knew a pivotal moment was upon them. Would they dive deeper into the chaos? Or would this choice be their undoing? The decision loomed heavy as the door swung open, beckoning them into the unknown. What awaited them inside? Secrets, danger, or perhaps finally the truth? And as Evan slipped into the car, one haunting question echoed in his mind. Would they emerge unscathed, or was this the beginning of a descent into darkness? The door slammed shut behind them with a satisfying thud, creating a barrier between their uncertain futures and the chaos they had fled. The interior was shadowy, the air rife with tension and, just maybe, a glimmer of hope. Evan barely had time to catch his breath before the driver revved the engine, propelling them into the night like a shot. His instincts screamed to question the stranger, to demand answers. But as he glanced back at Jenna, her face taut with panic and determination, he knew there was no room for hesitation. The figure behind the wheel was a familiar sight, Rachel, an old friend from high school, her tousled hair catching the streetlights like strands of gold. Is it really you? Evan stammered, disbelief skimming the surface of his anxiety. What are you doing here? Rachel's eyes darted to the rearview mirror, scanning the empty street. I saw what happened back there. You two have to get out of here. They'll be on your trail soon, and trust me, you're not safe. Who's after us? Jenna's voice was soaked in fear. What are we running from? Not just some thugs. It's bigger than that. I got wind of something you both need to know, Rachel replied, her voice steadying as urgency laced her tone. It's about your father, Evan. He dug up stuff that could ruin powerful people. Evan's breath hitched, a pit descending into his stomach. My father? What do you mean? Before Rachel could answer, a flickering blue light pierced through the rear window, painting their faces in panic. Police! She shouted, slamming her foot on the gas. The car lurched forward, tires screeching against asphalt as the night rushed by outside. Evan felt the tightening grip of dread. It wasn't just the police, they had to make sure they weren't enmeshed in something far worse. Jenna gripped his hand tighter, their palms slick with fear. What more could you possibly know? He pressed Rachel, trying to break the tension. Everything. I was closer to your father's business than I ever should be been. He had documents, names, numbers, people you wouldn't want to cross. He brought me in, thinking we could protect it. And it's gone now, Evan finished, feeling the weight of loss and betrayal around them like a thick fog. Rachel nodded, the lines of worry deepening on her forehead. It's not just about protecting his legacy anymore, it's about survival. I just wish I had the papers. They could have saved him. What happened? Jenna's eyes widened, confusion swirling. Evan felt the prick of fear ripple through him. Each revelation spun a thread of panic tighter around his heart. Why didn't you tell me before? Because I was trying to keep you both safe, Rachel exclaimed. I thought I could warn you if anything went south while tracking it down. Then I saw those figures invade your father's house. I had to act fast. The engine rambled as they rounded another corner, and Evan's thoughts raced back to the shadows lurking in that house. Lucas had mentioned a truth bigger than them, and now it seemed every word the older brother had spoken rang like a chime in his mind. Rachel, if they know about you, they'll come after you. Evan felt guilt wash over him. Her expression hardened, fire igniting in her eyes. And I won't let that happen. We're in this together now. As they crossed over the bridge, headlights trailing behind them grew dim, yet the threat loomed ever closer. We need a plan, Evan said, scanning the horizon for their next move. What do we do next? First, we lay low. Find a safe house. I know a place, Rachel replied, flicking her gaze between the road and them. But we have to stay off the radar. If they catch a whiff of our scent suddenly, two dark SUVs appeared behind them, their headlights piercing through the night like hungry wolves stalking their prey. The pounding thud of Evan's heartbeat drowned out the sound of Rachel's voice. Hold on! She yelled, veering sharply to the right, jolting everyone in their seats. The dirt road unraveled ahead, narrow and twisting. Evan's heart raced as he realized the gravity of their situation. What if they catch us? Rachel's grip tightened on the wheel as she steered with fierce determination. They won't. Not if I have anything to say about it. As they sped forward, the night around them darkened, the lines between friend and foe blurring with every heartbeat. What hidden truths lay ahead? And would their quest for answers lead them into the very heart of danger itself? The car hurtled down the dirt road, dust flying up in thick clouds behind them. Every corner Rachel took felt like a gamble, as if the very ground could swallow them whole if they made one wrong move. Evan leaned forward, his chest tightening with dread. Jenna was scanning the rearview mirror, and he could see the shadows of the SUVs drawing closer, their sinister forms split by flashlight beams dancing wildly over the landscape. Faster! She urged, her voice quaking. They're not stopping. A snapshot of clarity pierced Evan's mind. The papers, those documents his father had held so closely. What was in those files, Rachel? What did you see? Rachel's face was a mix of fierce determination and deep-seated fear. Names of people who'd killed to keep this all under wraps. Corruption at the highest levels. Your father was onto something that could take down a network of ruthless individuals. Why would he get involved? Evan's voice cracked, the burden of his father's choices heavy on him. What was he thinking? Justice? Revenge? I don't know. Rachel's frustration boiled over. We need to focus on getting to safety first. We can figure this out later. Suddenly, a deafening roar echoed behind them, and one of the SUVs slammed into the back of their car, sending a jolt through Evan that shot straight to his spine. Rachel cursed under her breath, whipping the steering wheel left as she narrowly avoided a tree, the tires skidding on the loose gravel. Rachel, they're right on top of us! Jenna shouted. I know! Rachel breathed heavily, her grip on the wheel turning white-knuckled. Just hold on tight. As they barreled down the path, Evan struggled to shake off the fear enveloping him. The weight of his father's shadow loomed larger with every second, and the mystery of those documents consumed his thoughts. They had to uncover the truth, not just for their own survival but for justice. Take the next turn! He cried suddenly, his instincts igniting with urgency. The woods should lead us to that old cabin. Rachel didn't hesitate, veering left with relentless speed. The headlights of the SUVs followed, relentless as wolves. They dove deeper into the darkness of the trees, narrowly avoiding branches scratching at the car's sides. As they raced deeper into the woods, the atmosphere shifted. The world outside became an ominous haze, but Evan felt a flicker of hope. They knew this landscape. Their childhood adventures unfolded here, hidden from prying eyes. Stop! Jenna's voice broke through. What if they find us? We'll be fine, Evan exclaimed, though his heart hammered with uncertainty. We can't think any other way if we're going to survive. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, Evan's mind turned as he scanned the surroundings. The cabin was just ahead, an old silhouette barely visible against the night sky. It sat abandoned, the perfect hiding spot. Rachel drove to the edge of the clearing, and they all jumped out as she slammed on the brakes. Quick! Inside! Rachel ordered, already bounding up the rotting wood steps, just as the three of them piled through the door. A cacophony of tires screeching and shouting erupted behind them. They turned to see the SUVs skidding to a halt, men jumping out, dark silhouettes against the light of their vehicles. Lock it! Evan shouted, his heart racing in his chest. He moved to secure the old door while Jenna and Rachel bolted to the window. Evan, they're coming! Jenna's voice was a whisper, fear creeping back into her eyes. Wait! Rachel's voice cut through the tension. We need to listen! They strained their ears, the muffled sounds of footsteps nearing, panic rising with every heartbeat. His palms were clammy against the door, and he held his breath. What did they want? What had his father done? The stakes were too high, and time was slipping away like sand through his fingers. Whatever happens, we stick together, he murmured, needing the reassurance as they prepared for the confrontation just outside. And then, as if the world had drawn a breath, they heard it, a guttural voice cutting through the darkness. Commanding and compelling. We know you're in there. Just give up, and maybe we'll let you walk away. Evan's heart sank. Who were these people, and what did they really want? He turned to his friends, desperation pooling like ice in his veins. What would come next? As the sounds of the intruders grew, a chill settled over them, laying bare the threads of fate woven around their lives. In that dimly lit cabin, with danger sweeping closer, the truth was close enough to taste. But would it shatter their fragile alliance, or would it light a path to salvation? Evan's heart thundered in his chest, the shouting outside intensifying like a storm. He could feel the weight of Rachel's decision bearing down on him. They had come so far. The documentation, the names. All he could think of was the potential impact if the secrets stayed buried. Focus! Rachel hissed, a steely resolve in her eyes. We can't let them in. If they find those documents. Why are they after your father's stuff? Jenna whispered, her voice trembling. What did he uncover? I don't know, but it's bad. Evan replied, glancing back at the darkened door. Hold on, let me check. He edged closer, peering through a cracked window. The scene outside was chaos. The intruders were moving in organized pairs, already fanning out like wolves sniffing out prey. Shadows danced frenetic, illuminated by their flashlights, but he couldn't see their faces. Please, we have to stay quiet, Jenna urged, crossing her arms tightly around herself as though to ward off the gathering fear. The voice boomed again from outside, dripping with malice. You think you can hide from us? We know you have something. Just hand it over, and we might just let you go. Evan recoiled, a wave of nausea rolling through him. Who were these men? How did they know so much? He turned back to Rachel and Jenna, desperation clawing at him. What if they know about the documents? Then they'll stop at nothing to get them, Rachel said, her eyes steady. We can't let that happen. Footsteps crunched closer, making Evan instinctively step back. We need a plan, he said, adrenaline shooting through his veins. There's a trapdoor under this floor. We can hide down there until they leave. Are you sure? Jenna fretted, her voice shaking. What if they find us? "I'd rather take my chances down there than wait for them to break the door," he replied decisively. "It's now or never." Rachel nodded, moving quickly to find the trapdoor. It creaked as she pried it open, revealing a dark, musty abyss. "Get in," she urged. They didn't have to be told twice. Evan and Jenna slipped inside, the air thick and heavy as they crouched in the dark. Rachel followed last, the door closing with a muffled thud above them. The darkness enveloped them like a wet blanket, but Evan's pulse raced with the weight of their decision. They huddled close, listening carefully. Deep breaths, muffled whispers. The sound of footsteps grew louder, surrounding the cabin like an ominous tide. Where could they be? One of the intruders barked outside, his voice cutting through the stillness. "Check everywhere!" "It's like they vanished," another responded, and Evan felt Jenna's grip tighten around his arm. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed above them. The men were inside, ransacking the place. Panic flickered in Evan's gut, but he forced himself to breathe. They needed to wait it out. Moments turned into hours in that suffocating silence. Evan's mind raced with the implications of what would happen if they found the files. "What if we offered to trade?" Jenna whispered, her voice barely audible, like a leaf brushing the ground. "Trade what?" Rachel shot back, frustration threading through her voice. Maybe I can pretend to give them what they want. I'm a distraction." "Are you insane?" Evan whispered urgently. "That would throw you right in their path. We can't risk it." Footsteps above them shuffled again, the intruders talked in low, conspiratorial tones. Suddenly, a harsh voice cut through the man sounded panicked. "Get in the basement. We know you're hiding something. No more games." A sickening sense of dread coiled in Evan's stomach. "They're coming for us, what do we do now?" "Nobody moves," Rachel hissed again, their last line of defense crumbling, and just as Evan readied himself for the worst, a new voice broke in a woman's voice, sharp and commanding. "Stop!" Evan's mind reeled. Who was she? What did she want? What would come next? The fear in the cabin turned electric, and the shadows closed in tighter, their fates hanging by a thread. The tension in the cramped space was palpable. Evan strained to see who had interrupted the chaos above, his pulse echoing in his ears. Rachel's breath caught, a mixture of hope and dread swirling in her eyes, while Jenna clutched his arm with white knuckles. The woman's voice, calm yet authoritative, bore the weight of something far more formidable than the goons outside. "Get away from there," the woman commanded, her tone cutting through the stale air like a knife. "You have what you want, there's no need for violence." Evan leaned closer to the floor, heart racing. Who was she? Was she working with the intruders, or was she their adversary? His throat felt tight as the hushed murmurs above transformed into harsh whispers. "Do you think you can just walk in here and take what I send to yours?" One of the intruders spat, anger lacing his words. "It doesn't belong to you. Hand it over, and we won't hurt anyone." "I don't plan to hand over anything," the woman shot back. "You have until I count to 3, or I can guarantee you'll regret not taking a rational approach." Her confidence was unnerving. Evan could practically feel the deep breaths from Rachel and Jenna as they absorbed the tension radiating from the trapdoor. He fought to decipher the situation, but the thick darkness offered no clarity. "I think you should leave," the woman continued, her voice ringing with certainty. "You know what happens if you don't. You really don't want to test me." A heavy silence fell. The intruders exchanged glances, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. But then, it broke like glass. "Enough games!" the same intruder bellowed, losing patience. "You don't know who you're dealing with." Suddenly, there was a rush, the swift thudding of feet pounding against the floorboards, and as Evan held his breath, he realized it wasn't just the men anymore. Another loud crash echoed. Heavy thuds and muffled shouts reverberated through the walls, sending a jolt of fear straight to his core. The sound of a scuffle erupted, their world rocking on the brink of chaos once again. "What is happening?" Jenna whimpered, her voice trembling as she sank deeper into hiding. "Shouldn't we do something?" "No!" Rachel snapped, fear straining her voice. We can't. We have to wait and see. There's nothing we can do until we know what's going on. But Evan wasn't sure how much longer he could endure the uncertainty. A dull thump sounded above them, then a low growl, an ominous reminder of the stakes at play. He felt a distinct ripple through the air, a scent of sweat and tension, making the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. If they find us down here, he murmured, trailing off as dread twisted in his stomach. His heart sank at the thought. What if the woman lost this fight? What if they were discovered in the darkness, left to deal with whatever torturous plans the intruders had in store? Amidst the chaos, as the shouting escalated into a wild frenzy, Evan heard something else, a startling crackle from the room above. The tense moments began to stretch like elastic. Then came an eerie pause, followed by a final yell, and then silence. The silence felt deafening, and just as Evan began to wonder how the silence could hold more danger than the noise, footsteps approached. They were heavy, deliberate. The unmistakable sound of someone searching. "Don't breathe," Rachel whispered, eyes wide in the darkness. But Evan's mind was racing now. Whoever it is, we can't stay hidden forever. We need to do something. Just as the door creaked open, and a shadow loomed against the dim light above, Evan braced himself for the unknown, fear curling in his chest like a serpent. "Get ready," he whispered to the girls. "Whatever happens next," a shout broke the quiet. "You thought you could invade my business and get away with it?" Evan's heart dropped. It was the woman's voice again, but this time layered with icy cold fury. And all at once, shocking realization struck Evan like lightning. The stakes were higher than they had imagined, and this was only the beginning of an unthinkable gamble that could change everything. What had Rachel's father uncovered? And why did they need to silence it so desperately? As the confrontation unfolded before them, Evan knew one thing: they were about to step into a world that held far more danger than they ever anticipated, and with the echo of each word he overheard, the line between friend and foe blurred chillingly. The harsh edge of the intruder's voice pulled Evan's attention back to the conflict above. He peered through the dim light spilling from the open door, desperate to catch a glimpse of what lay beyond. "What's the matter? Cat got your tongue?" The intruder's mocking laughter rang like a bell. The sound sent chills racing down Evan's spine. Then, the woman's voice cut through the air again, unwavering. "Do you think your threats intimidate me? You're walking into a minefield." Evan's breath quickened. Fire ignited within her tone. If only he could see her, gauge her strength. But the shadows held their secrets close. "Enough. This is your final chance." The intruder's voice was laced with venom as he stepped closer, causing Evan's heart to race. He could feel something dark creeping through the air, thick and suffocating. The footsteps seemed to inch nearer, the chill of fear settling deep in Evan's bones. Was the woman truly prepared to face them alone? "Count all you like," the intruder sneered, his voice rising in inflection, "but you're outnumbered. You think your bravado will save you?" In the depths of the room, Evan exchanged a frantic glance with Rachel. The fear in her eyes mirrored his. They were trapped, shadows woven by uncertainty, and fear. A flash of fury rang out as the woman shouted, "One! Did you really forget who you're dealing with?" Then, without warning, a terrifying crash pierced the air, followed by the unmistakable sound of a struggle, bodies colliding, grunts, shouts, and the chaos of desperation spilled out upon them like a tempest. Evan's instincts kicked in. "They couldn't just sit here. Let us go," he whispered urgently, brushing Jenna's fingers away from his arm, where they had tightened in fear. "We have to find another way out." "No!" Rachel pleaded softly, her eyes wide and pleading. "What if they see us? We can't risk it." But the urgency of the moment was suffocating him. "Staying is just as dangerous, Ratch. There are too many unknowns right now." Just then, a gunshot. The startling crack reverberated down the hallway, and all three of them flinched. "Oh God," Jenna gasped, moving closer to Evan. "What do we do? What do we do?" Evan's mind raced. "If we can reach the stairs, we have a chance." He guided them slowly toward the edge of their hiding spot, nerves shooting through him like lightning. The struggle continued above, the room being torn apart piece by piece. Voices ratcheted up, echoing wildly, but they kept their focus, stealthing toward what they hoped would be freedom. Yet, just as they reached the first step, a figure stumbled into the lighted frame of the door, silhouetted perfectly against the glow. A man, wild-eyed and ragged, bruised but not out. Evan felt his heart halt. The man was one of the intruders, and something glinted threateningly in his hands. "Get out of here now!" The man howled, eyes darting wildly as he caught sight of the trio frozen in shock. Evan's instincts kicked into overdrive. There was no time to hesitate. He shoved Rachel and Jenna ahead and bolted up the last few steps. The echo of their footsteps mingled with the chaos behind them. The man turned, the fear in his eyes palpable. "You don't want to be here when it all falls apart." But Evan didn't stop. They burst out of the staircase into the blinding daylight, the sun catching them off guard. They could breathe, but where to run? Behind them, a cacophony of sounds erupted, the clash of fury and chaos spilling out from the door they'd just escaped. The woman's voice rose again, powerful and demanding. "Finish this." And then it all went silent. Evan turned back just in time to see shadows dance at the edges of the doorway, leaving whispers of what could have been dark secrets swirling thick like fog. "What on earth just happened?" Rachel breathed, shaking as she took in the scene around them. "I don't know," Evan admitted, his heart hammering as he surveyed the landscape of trouble brewing behind closed doors. "But we need to figure it out, and fast. Whatever is in there could still come for us." As tension gripped him anew, a chilling realization settled in. What if they had stepped into something larger than themselves, something they were never meant to uncover? And deeper still, unearthing their own destinies would come at a steep price. "Can we really handle what's next?" he whispered, barely believing it himself. The answer lay waiting just ahead, as did the truth that twisted the knife in their hearts. What were they about to stumble into? The sun hung low, spilling warm golden rays onto the abandoned ground outside the cabin. Evan's heart raced, but that burst of daylight felt like a beacon of hope among the chaos that had just erupted. He took a deep breath, trying to steady his pounding heart. "Where do we go from here?" Jenna's voice trembled beside him. Fear danced in her wide eyes, matching the nervous energy radiating from Evan. "Back to Rachel. We have to figure this out together." He cast one more glance toward the door they had just fled, still hearing the echoes of the struggle inside. Something shifted within him, an unsettling determination that this was only the beginning. As they moved, shadows loomed over them, and the sun's warmth quickly faded. "Stay close," he murmured, and they hurried toward the wooded path, hearts racing in sync. In the distance, the familiar sound of footsteps approached again, this time followed by murmurs. "They escaped. Split up, find them," the harsh voice commanded, sending a chill cascading down Evan's spine. They were still being hunted. "Right here." Rachel emerged from behind a tree, her eyes wide and frantic as she approached them. "I saw you guys break out. What happened inside?" "No time to explain," Evan said, glancing back nervously. "We need to find cover before they catch up." They huddled tightly together, adrenaline pumping through them like wildfire, the unity of survival strengthening their resolve. "Follow me," Rachel urged, leading them down an alternate trail, shadows welcoming them once more. As they pressed deeper into the woods, Evan's mind raced with the whirlwind of revelations he had unearthed. Lucas, Jenna, Rachel, they were all intertwined in a web of secrets that dragged him deeper into the heart of danger. His father's legacy hung over him like a thunderstorm, waiting to unleash its fury. "We need to address what we learned. If my father was truly involved in something this sinister, then we need to expose it for what it is," Evan finally said, determination igniting in his voice. "Otherwise, they'll keep hunting us. People are suffering, and it's all built on the lies surrounding my family." Jenna nodded firmly, her fear momentarily forgotten in the face of purpose. "Then we take this fight back to the light. We gather evidence. If Rachel has info, we can use that." "Yes. I kept a backup of the files," Rachel interjected, her voice steady, confidence returning. "But first, let us get away from here." They navigated a hidden path leading towards an old barn in the distance. It creaked ominously as they entered, but the dilapidated structure provided cover from the searching eyes. They gathered inside, breaths mingling with dust while scavenging for anything useful. As they rifled through the remnants of forgotten goods, Evan's phone buzzed. A message appeared from his father's lawyer. Time's running out. Meet me where it all began. What does that mean? Jenna asked, weaving closer, curiosity stamped on her brow. Where it all began, the old family estate. That's where the truth lies, Evan whispered, resolve encompassing him. If we move now, we can catch the lawyer, figure out what he knows. He met Rachel's gaze, hungry for answers. And what the files hold. Let us go, Rachel declared, taking charge. We'll meet the lawyer and uncover everything all at once. They rushed back through the woods, their hearts pumping in unison with purpose while danger lurked at their heels. As they emerged into the fading daylight, Evan felt an inexplicable shift. A door was beginning to open, revealing pieces of a dark puzzle that had clouded their lives for too long. What awaited them wasn't just answers. It was the freedom from the chains of betrayal woven deep inside their family fabric. Remember, Rachel cautioned as they climbed into the car, an undercurrent of urgency coursing through her words. This isn't about survival anymore, it's about justice. Evan nodded, a sense of calm settling over him. He was ready to face what lay ahead. Together, Jenna said, gripping his hand tightly. And with that, they drove into the night, united in purpose and courage like never before. This was not just a fight for survival. It was a fight to reclaim their lives and unearth what had been buried for too long. They'd shine a light on the dark secrets that had haunted their family for generations. This was their moment, an uprising against the past as shadows. As they approached the estate, a chill ran down Evan's spine, yet hope coursed through them, fueling the fire of revelation. They weren't merely navigating danger. They were positioning themselves to finally confront the darkness head-on and dismantle the suffocating grip it had held over them for so long. With resolute hearts, they entered the lineage of truth they had long sought for, ready to reclaim their own fate at last. Now remember, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories coming your way. Smash the like button now to flood the algorithm with love, and let's connect in the comments. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about everything that just went down. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us make waves together.